we're moving on here. Anyway, he wasn't a great person. He should have taken better care of his wife because he stopped giving her the medicine, and it ended up costing her her life. But that's who he was, unfortunately. This is a picture of my dad when he was in England. He was a staff sergeant. Looks like he's just doing some paperwork there with some of the other guys. That's him as a child. My dad. I'm not sure who that is. I'm not sure if that's my dad or not. That's not good. This is a good picture of my father and his father. Not too much. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, yeah. My dad was tough. He came up in a tough household, and he was a tough guy. He played football. He played football so well at Hillsborough High School. He was a guard. He played football so well, he got a scholarship to play up at FSU. He went to FSU, played football for FSU. The Korean War broke out. He got diverted from going to FSU and playing football to England, and then he came back and settled back in Tampa and got his business degree at the University of Tampa. He's quite the guy. And this looks like, I think that's him too. Yeah, he's there, and he was, like I said, he was in the service. I think he really enjoyed the service. It's a good picture of him and his mother. Unfortunately, his poor mother sort of disappeared into alcoholism. She was a major. She drank all the time. She made her own wine. It was, I got comparatively pretty awful. Apparently pretty awful. And but yeah, she did not have a good life. Excuse me. Anyway, she later was diagnosed with alcohol-related dementia, which was not surprising to us. My dad also had major drinking issues, and we'll get into that a little bit later. My dad out fishing on the lake. Looks like Mary caught herself a nice little fish there. It's a good picture of my pops there. Good picture of pops. Here we are. That's me, my sister, and my brother. Probably 1961. This is a picture of, right there at the top left is Benjamin Harrison. That's Ben and then eventually Ben Lovelace. I'm sorry. Not Harrison. I'm sorry. Lovelace all along. Excuse me. That's my brother and I. That looks like looks like my dad with a fish there. And there's a good picture of my dad. He loved the military. He really did. He enjoyed his time in the Air Force. My brother, of course. This is a picture of Nan. This is in her garden. It looks like in Brooksville. Typical outfit. Nice, looks probably spring. She got a nice yellow pantsuit on there. There's Ben Lovelace. Granny, Frona Lovelace. And that is Bud Johnson. Bud Johnson was my uncle. He was my mother's brother. He had unfortunately a horrific life. He suffered from extreme alcoholism, drank like a fish, and never had control of his life. He was married twice, and he just could not get his life together. He couldn't find anything for himself. He was a very, very sad, depressing soul, and he eventually killed himself at the age of 38. His name was Clyde Johnson Jr., 38 years old. He never really had a happy life. He was abused by his father, and he drank all the time. Sometimes when you're a kid, you think these guys are cool, but he had a sad life, and he checked out way too early. Okay, so let's move on here. That's like a picture of Bud. This is a picture of Jane and her, my grandmother, real grandmother. This is a picture of her driver's license. Looks like it's her date of birth is 1/25/16. So, yeah, she had considering what she'd been through, she had quite the life. This is a good picture of her just hanging out. Looks like it's like a restaurant there. This is a picture of my one of my cousins. Her name is Pam. It was this time Pam Johnson. This was Bud Johnson's oldest child. She was a redhead because her mother was redhead. That looks like they're up in Brooksville. This is Pam Johnson, deceased. Valerie, I'm not sure what her name was, but that was Bud's first wife there on the left. Her name was Valerie. That was their daughter that they had, Pam. Valerie went on to marry again and have a happy life. Pam went on to have a happy life, but unfortunately, because she was a smoker, she died in the 60s. I don't know why she smoked. Behind the house in Brooksville, there was this creek or crick, whatever you want to call it, and we would swim in there all the time. This is one of I think maybe the only pictures I can find that has my sister and Pam playing in the creek behind the house in Brooksville. This is Bud Johnson, very young. Bud Johnson and Doyle Johnson. Doyle, not Doyle Johnson. Doyle, I don't know what his last name was. Doyle also had a very sad life. He also a major alcoholic. When we were burying Bud because he kid just killed himself, and Doyle was at the funeral and he was looking awful pathetic and shaking and just a complete mess. So he died too young too. He died of alcohol. It's sort of a sad thing, but that's that. This is my grandmother. She was a teetotaler, as I said, and that looks like, I'm not sure who she's got in her, who that is, but they're in the woods somewhere. This is a picture of Clyde Johnson and Clyde Johnson Jr. Pop and his son. Picture of Bud Johnson. Looks like he's got his BB gun there. Clyde Johnson and Ruby Johnson sitting on the front of the truck. This picture is Bud Johnson, Curtis on the right, and Craig on the left. Curtis on the right is from his second marriage. Curtis from right is a child. He's a stepfather to, and this is his natural child, Craig Johnson. So this is at their house. They had a lake house in Lutz, Florida, and looks like they're watching TV. And excuse me for a second while I get my act together. There we go. Okay, so there. And that's another picture. And then here's a picture of Bud Johnson again. Very skinny, young man. Bud just kind of wandering by some stream. Again, Bud. Not sure what's going on there. This is Bud and his mother, Ruby. Looks like Bud, just like he's gotten into the Army or something. This is Ben Lovelace and Rudy Johnson. Ruby Johnson. Ben Lovelace. Ben Lovelace and Verona. Nan hanging out behind a boat. Hanging out in the garden. It's so bright. And that one looks like Nan. And Nell and a couple other folks just hanging out there by the lake place. Another good shot of Nan. Another good shot of Nan. She's in her garden, I think, there. At the lake place, probably waiting on the fish. This is a picture of Ruby Johnson and Jane Dennis. They're together for some reason. Not sure what the occasion would be, but they're there at, and I'm not even sure which house that is. For whatever the reason, they're together, and they both look really nice when they're dressed up. So that's a nice picture to have. Those are my two real grandmothers. Picture of Nan in her driveway in Tampa. That looks like it could be in Brooksville. They went back and forth between Brooksville and Tampa. They actually even had a house in Gibsonton, Florida. This house here was probably Brooksville. That's Lola on the left and Ruby on the right. Looks like they're doing dishes. Somewhere Brooksville doing something. That looks like Brooksville with Nan outside, styling and profiling. This picture was taken in 86 or 87. She had moved into a neighborhood that we lived in. It's called Countryside. And we had her picture taken. And I think it's a really good picture of her. She was probably, I'm not sure how old she was, but she was getting up there. This is her driver's license. She was born 31/12, and she died, I think, in 2000. That's a picture of my brother. This is my brother, John Dennis again, my brother, 18 months, my brother, my brother, my brother, my brother, my brother, my brother, and this is me at my first Christmas. I looked like I've been a light Christmas for the rest of my life. Again, same deal. Ready for Christmas. Looks like you're here. I'm getting ready to try out my first motorcycle or something here. At 10 months, I'm ready to go. Looks like my cousin Gerald in the back. And of course, there we are in the pool. Myself, my brother, and two sisters that would live in the neighborhood. This was back on Seneca in Tampa. Very young. Again, these are all bad pictures here because they're like, that's a good picture. We're in the tub there, doing the old sauna. I'm standing up. That's my brother sitting down on the right. And that's girls. I think both those girls were Smiths. Kathy and Julie Smith, I think those were their names. And this is a picture of my grandmother and my grandmother, Jane, with me in the front and my brother in the middle. A little bit too much there. There's a picture of us at Bott Tower. That's Granny. Ruby on the far right. Me sitting down. Then John Dennis. And then to the far left is my mother. We're at Bott Tower, 60s. My brother, 1969. And here's my brother. That's me. My dad on some trip. This is a good picture of him. I really like this picture of him. He's enjoying life. This picture is really good. I love it. Here they were, and this looks like the lake house, probably 67. Looks like they're had a few. They're having a good time. My dad traveling, February 72. This one was January 67. Looks like he's on a train or something. Yeah, he loves the Air Force. That's a good picture of him. Look how young he looks. Out in the mud and the bud and the beer. That's him and my brother. I don't know what he's done to his arm, but it's broken. And here's my father. And Jennifer. They're sitting in a chair there. My dad, toward the end of his life, hanging with his other people. I think they had come to see when my mother had passed. Okay, we're going to stop there. We'll get back soon.